And we're back with TSPN, and we have Tracy Tonnesen with us from Davenport Properties.
Hi.
How are you today,
Very
Tracy?
good, thank you.
All right. You guys have a good location down here, right on the corner.
We have two locations, one right here across the street from the fire station, and then one, of course, on Highway 88.
Okay, this one, when you said here, is in Jackson, right at the main intersection by the fire department.
Correct.
You can't miss it, right?
Right.
So do you find that brings in a lot of walk-ins and a lot of business?
Well, you know, location, real estate, right?
That's right.
We have about 8 agents. We have the 2 locations, and today I'd like to talk about our first-time homebuyer program in Jackson. Okay?
Now, I see your list up here says City of Ione, but this is a Jackson program.
We have 2. One is the City of Ione, and one is Jackson.
Okay.
Right now, we have basically, it's open and eligible for anybody that is a first-time home buyer, or if you haven't owned a house in 3 years. So say, for instance, you were in your foreclosure process or a short sale, and you want to get back into the real estate market, and of course, interest rates are really good right now. They're in the 3s and 4s. You are eligible for the first-time home buyer now, and this is if you haven't had your primary residence in 3 years.
And people need to know that, because I do know a couple that they worked with their parents and they were the primary owner when they were in college. But then about 2 years later, they went to buy a home and they didn't qualify for first-time home buyer. So it's got to be that 3 years.
Right, it has to be the 3 years. So even if you're not a first-time home buyer, you are still eligible. And you're eligible if you make $37,950. Okay, that's your maximum income. So if you're a single person, you're not married, okay, there's just a single household, it's $37,950.
Is that gross or net?
That's your annual income. So your income for a whole entire year.
Okay.
Of course, you have to have a primary lender, and then it's a second with the City of Jackson or the City of Ione. And what that money goes towards is your down payment. So it's deferred, is 3% deferred over 30 years.
Okay.
So you can pay off that loan, or after a couple of years you can refinance the first and the second, put it all together. And right now interest rates, of course, are in the low 3s and 4s. So you have your whole package in the 3 or 4% range. And it's an excellent opportunity for anybody, basically, if you haven't owned a house in 3 years.
And that's a very low interest rate. I mean, their interest rates now are running 3 to 5, depending on where you're at. So if you're in that 4 range, that's very good, especially I think rates are potentially rising now in the future.
Right, well, of course. And they've been the lowest that they have ever been in my experience, and I've been in the real estate business since 2000. But before that, in the Bay Area, I was selling advertising to real estate people, and interest rates were up in the 17s. So right now is an excellent time.
In my experience, I think you're right, because I've never seen it this low. I refinanced twice to bring it down to 3.5 now. So.
Right.
And I like that, locking it in there.
So, and some of the other requirements for this program is that 1% is required of the purchase price. So 1% is pretty low, but it's not your standard 20% or 50% of whatever you're supposed to put down. Plus, some of those closing costs are going to be deferred also. So it's something that you might want to think about. It has to be in the city limits. So the city limits of Ione or the city limits of Jackson, because they want to make sure they have city water and city sewer.
I was talking to a realtor yesterday, or a developer, let's say, and he said that they're feeling very confident about their development coming up in the next year because the housing inventory is low right now. Is that the case or not?
Extremely low. We only have about 167 residences on the market right now. That's not vacant land. That's not, commercial property. Those are single-family residences.
Does that count foreclosures too?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
This program, by the way, is for a single-family residence, but it also can be a condo. It also can be a manufactured home on a foundation.
So much cheaper.
So you're not just limited to a single-family dwelling. If you want to get a little condo or a duplex, you can do that too.
And there's some good buys. It has to be in the city limits, so
Right.
you can't go like to the Oaks out in Buena Vista. It's got to be one of the manufactured home parks in Ione or in Jackson.
Right, right. And it has to be on a foundation, of course.
Okay,
of
or
course.
condos. So that's a big qualifier there for a lot of people. They can get in a little bit cheaper.
Right, right.
So give us your contact information if people want to talk to you about this.
Okay, if you want to give me a call, you can call me on my cell phone. It's 304-4005, or at the office, 223-5655.
And again, you have two locations. Are you at both locations or one?
I'm just at the location right here on Main Street, and that's 223-5655.
All right, Tracy. Thank
All
you
right.
for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, and we have to go to a break, and we'll be right back with Heather in a moment.
You're watching Amador County.